Hello everyone, I'm Charlie Danis of Capital Athletics. Welcome into the Coach Candeto Show. Capital football coming off of a 34-31 win over Muskingum last week. Joining me now, the head coach of the Capital football program, Craig Candeto. Coach, congratulations on the win over the Muskies, and what an atmosphere. The first night game ever at Bernlohr Stadium, an excess crowd of over 3,000, a whiteout. Talk to me about the atmosphere of the game before we get into the details of what happened on the field.
Yeah, it was great. I talked to our guys yesterday and told them, hey, raise your hand if you had some fun on Saturday night. And all those guys raised their hand. It was a fun atmosphere. I mean, that's what college football is all about, and we enjoyed it. Obviously, when you win, it's fun. And, it was neat to see that many people out at night, and it was a great night. Unbelievable.
It was a back-and-forth affair. It seemed like the lead was volume in between each team, and I thought your team showed great fortitude, particularly in the second half when they fell behind early on in the fourth quarter, but somehow, some way, they were able to march down the field, they get the ball into the end zone, and they ultimately come out with a win. What did you learn about your team against Muskingum?
They're resilient, and that's one of our terms we talk about being a Crusader is resilient, and that's what they showed. It was back and forth, like you said. It was very nerve-wracking at times, but every time that something bad happened to us, we answered the bell, whether it was offense, defense, or special teams. And that's what you have to do over the course of a football game. And that's the main reason that we won the football game, is because we were very resilient, and our guys kept their heads up and kept charging no matter what the circumstances were.
The running game continues to be very potent for your team. I want to lay some stats on you here. Fifth best rushing attack in Division III football through 3 games, averaging 461 yards on the ground. And then Brent Walton is named the OAC Offensive Player of the Week for the second straight week. Coach, we keep on talking about how well the O-line has performed so far here in 2015. And yet again, they do the same thing against the Muskies. Job well done on that front.
Yeah, it was. It was great. We knew that they were going to be physical up front, and they were. They had some really good players. A lot of guys back from the team that beat us the previous year that held us to, I think, 169 yards in 2014. So our guys played with a chip on their shoulder, and their goal was to set the tone physically, and we certainly did that. All 11 across the board on offense.
We're talking with head coach Craig Candeto here on the Coach Candeto Show. Both Nick Iskey and Zach Sheridan play a quarterback in this game. Usually the old saying is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But in your particular case, you have 2 talented quarterbacks. Both of them ran the offense against the Muskies, and both times they were in there, the offense was humming. They would take the ball down the field. They would score. Zach Sheridan had a nice 42-yard rushing touchdown late in the game that was a key in that win over the Muskies. Discuss for me how the quarterbacks have performed so far and how this 2-quarterback system just keeps on working.
Yeah, it keeps working. Both guys are dedicated, and both guys support each other, and that's why it works, is because each guy's pulling for the other when he's in there, and they complement each other well. They both get equal reps every week, so it's not like one's getting the short end of the stick. So they're both preparing as the starter. And, I kind of flow and get a feel for how things are going during the game, and it's kind of neat because I felt, hey, I want to put Zach in there, and that's when Zach broke that long run there. I think it was in the second half, and it's kind of like I call the plays. I kind of have a feel for it, and I kind of rotate the quarterbacks as such. I like to get Zach in early just to get him comfortable so he's not sitting on the sideline for a long time in the first half. But, they're certainly both pulling their weight and doing a nice job running the offense. And, I don't think we skip a beat with either one of them in there.
So now 2-0 in OAC play. Coach, I know it's very early on in the season and there's a heck of a lot of football left to be played there, but that has to be huge, starting off undefeated in conference play, considering past years and where you've come from.
Right, no doubt. I looked it up last week. 2011 was the last time that Capital started 2-0 in the conference. So we talk a lot about changing history here as Capital football is concerned, and that's one step. It's a very small step, but you got to take baby steps to make history. And so I'm very proud of our guys for taking those first 2 conference games seriously, because certainly the last 2 years that I've been here, we haven't started 2-0 in the conference. So that's just another step in our program.
This is the Coach Candeto Show here on athletics.capital.edu. Well, the month of September is going to be over, Coach, and now you head into October. 5 games in the month of October alone. It starts with a road game at Mount Union. We'll get to that matchup with the Purple Raiders in just a moment. But what are going to be some keys to keep the team fresh, focused during this upcoming grind? I mean, that's a lot of games in just 1 month.
It is, and October hasn't really been kind to us in the past couple of years. I think that's partly because of who we were playing in October. But, I think you got to be smart as a coach. You have to decide what the health of your team looks like and how you're going to attack practice, how physical you're going to be in practice. And, because as the season goes on, obviously you get some guys banged, nicked up a little bit. We've been really good health-wise, thankfully, so far. But obviously with 5 games in October, that's a grind, like you said. And to be smart as a coach, to be able to, get your guys' legs back, ready to go, because, as we're scheduled, we have 9 straight football games. Towards the end of the year, we get that one off week, after game 1, but 9 straight games. There's no off weeks going forward. So we try and keep our guys as healthy as we can and mentally engaged as well. And, winning football games helps that.
The next game against Mount Union, Purple Raiders have been gangbusters to start the year. They have outscored their opponents 164-0. So the challenge is daunting yet again. Do you want to go into that game with the same mindset that you had against Wittenberg, where you took on a top 20 team, you gave them all you had? What's the mindset heading into this game with Mount Union this year?
I appreciate you reminding me of the score that they put up on guys. But it is a similar mindset. Mount Union and Wittenberg are 2 completely different football teams. Mount Union is Mount Union. And our focus this week, though, is more on us and what we can do and how competitive we're going to be. We've played. This is my 3rd year playing Mount Union, and we know everything that comes with Mount Union. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be great athletes. They have a great team. So for us, it's going to be a process game. We talked to our guys yesterday about the process. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about, hey, if we're up or down 3rd, 4th quarter, it doesn't really matter. We're going to play each play as a process. And this week, we're going to treat every day in practice as a process. If you get too far ahead of, man, we got a chance to beat these guys, or are we going to play with these guys? You get too far out there. So we're trying to teach our guys to take it one step at a time, because if you try and eat the whole elephant of Mount Union at one time, it's not going to happen. So we're just going to take this thing step by step and see what happens on Saturday. We're excited.
How important are your upperclassmen going to be when it comes to taking on Mount Union this weekend?
Very. Those guys that have been in the fire, they know what to expect. They know what the level of competition is going to be like. Some of the freshmen that may be on the field are going to find out. We can prepare them. We can tell them about it as much as we want, but going into that environment, it's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a night game at Mount. I've heard some rumors about it being on some TV stations. So just keeping our guys calm through all that and not getting too excited and overly nervous for the game itself is going to go a long way. And I think those upperclassmen who've been through it before are going to really help our other guys, kind of take this step by step in the process, like we said, and just kind of go for it, and we really have nothing to lose. I mean, everything pressure-wise is going to be on their side. It always is, because they've got the streak or whatever they have, so we're just going to go try and play sound and good football.
Last question, Coach. Obviously, you're feeling good heading into the month of October. Discuss for you what your team has been like after this first month. Where's it at? Is it where you wanted it to be at the beginning of the season? Has it exceeded your expectations at all?
I think we're pretty close in most areas. Obviously, as a coach, you want to be 3-0 at this point going into October, but we've been competitive, and we've shown some signs of this being a great season. And it's way too early to say this is going to be a great season, but I want our guys to believe that we have the pieces right now, and we've shown some flashes of being successful this year. And for a team that we were 2-1 last year as well. We've got to continue and we've got to finish, because my saying to our team is every single week, whether we lost to Wittenberg and we're 0-1, my guys know now. I say, hey, just because we're 0-1, what's that mean? Well, we can't go 10-0, right? Okay. Now that we're 2-1, what's that mean? Well, we can't go 1-9. So every single week is that next step, and it's not getting too far out there. But for the most part, I think the things we talked about in preseason leading up to the year, I've been pleased with the attitude of our guys, their effort, and their toughness and resiliency during this early season. So I only expect that to continue to improve and to grow as well.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck against Mount Union this week.
Thank you, Charlie.
That was head coach Craig Candeto joining us here on the Coach Candeto Show. For more, go to athletics.capital.edu. I'm Charlie Danis for Capital Athletics. We'll see you next time.